Hi, I'm Sylvia Hansen. I was born in Laramie a very long time ago, and I've been a docent here at this Ivinson Plains Museum for a very long time, since 2004. What is that, 17 years? Highlight of my life is to give tours here. I love to do that. And so today you're going to get some mini tours from me. I'm starting with Edgar Wilson Nye, Bill Nye, not the science man, but he came to Laramie in 1880, and he wrote many books. And he had a mule. The mule didn't like to come, the mule didn't like to go, the mule wandered Laramie as it wanted to, so he named his mule Boomerang. In 1881, he started the newspaper in Laramie, one of the newspapers, and he named it, if you're from Laramie, you'll get this, the Laramie Daily Boomerang, or the Daily Boomerang, maybe it was back then. And on this book, I don't know if you can see it from where you are, there's a caricature of his mule Boomerang on that book. But that's a wonderful story about how our newspaper, and it is our newspaper to this day, got named The Boomerang by Edgar Wilson Nye. One of my favorite parts of the museum are these beautiful stained glass windows. And we had a time in the museum about, I've forgotten, maybe 1958, 1968, somewhere in there, that we called the vandalism years, and things disappeared, whether the church sold them or people broke in and stole them. And the stained glass windows that you see disappeared. They were just boarded up. And one day, out on our front porch, someone had delivered back this stained glass window, to my right, to your left. It's a little bit darker pink, a little bit darker color, but it was an original window, very carefully wrapped up, no story. We don't know who did it. We don't know whether they bought it from the church, whether it was stolen. We have no idea. But the serendipitous thing was that we got it back. And then that gave us a pattern then for making our other stained glass windows in the mansion, because then we did know what they looked like. And a lady in Fort Collins then built the other ones. She tried very hard to match both the colors and certainly the design. It's a little bit brighter pink on the newer ones, but boy, you can't tell that much. And what a gift back to the mansion to get that back. We have a wonderful fireplace, and this is in the dining room of the mansion. During those vandalism years, which I mentioned was, I think, 1958 to 1968, hobos would break in here, or maybe college students, high school students would break in, spend the night, spend time in here. We believe the hobos might have cooked in here, put their stew pots, hobo pots here on the fire, and whether their fires were so hot that some of this tile popped off, or whether someone liked it and took it, stole it, bought it from the church, much of this tile was missing. By the way, I've been told the tile came from Italy. I don't know that we have that on anything written, but there was a man here who was visiting, and he looked at that and he said that tile was made in Italy. I don't know that that's true, but it's very beautiful tile. And how do you restore the mansion? How do you restore the fireplace without tile? This house has 3,000 square feet per level. 3,000 that we're on, 3,000 on the second floor, top floor, and not so much, 29 something probably. Basement you don't get to go see, but it's 3,000 square feet. The Ivinsons had a laundry room and a wine cellar down there. But back in one of the rooms, probably a storeroom, we found a box of this tile, and we were able then to restore this fireplace back to its original beauty. And I've been told that this mantle is original. As I look at it, I don't have very good eyes anymore, but as I look at it, the only thing I can see perhaps broken is this little end of the dowel, but the mantle's original, and now the fireplace is back to original. As you enjoy walking through the mansion, you'll see some very beautiful wallpapers, and most of them are fairly accurate into the color that was here, and also they're accurate into what they're made of. We don't have synthetics in these, they're very accurate to the Victorian times. As we began doing the wallpaper in the kitchen, we found 4 layers of wallpaper. And so this is an interesting display. The top one, if you can see it, is the original, and we cannot make sense of what it was. Maybe the heat from the stove or moisture has ruined the pattern. So the next one down is the one we have tried to match to. You can see that's fairly close. The brown one was the third one out, and the blue and white one we could actually see, but we decided it was probably girls' school time and not Victorian, so we backed it up as far back as we could make sense of it. And that's what we've done in other rooms. We've tried to match the wallpaper that we found, either by scraping back or from pictures. In this case, we have 2 dolls that are dressed exquisitely in replicas of what the Ivinsons wore to their 50th anniversary party. They had a big ball downtown, I believe it was in Manicourt Hall, and these are replicas of what they wore. We have the real clothing in this mansion. Sometimes we put Edward Ivinson's Brooks Brothers tuxedo up in his room, and interestingly enough, when I stand next to the mannequin, he wasn't a lot taller than I am. We have her dress in the mansion as well. Because it's heavy material, the seams are coming apart. And so I've been here, 17 years, and I've only seen it out 3 times in those years. And when we brought it out, we've had to keep it flat, because if you get it up wide, the seams begin to fall out. A doll maker in Laramie said, we need to make replicas of this clothing before her dress is completely just thread and material laying there. So she made the clothes, and this is what they look like. I'm understanding, and if this isn't accurate, you can change it, but I'm understanding that Jane bought her material maybe in Paris, and she had a dressmaker in San Diego named Amy Strong, who was very well known at the time for making beautiful clothes, make her dress. So we have the clothes in the mansion, just not out very often. We are in Jane Ivinson's bedroom, and we have some of her clothing. We have some things of theirs, but one of the things that's really important, or that we have, is her steamer trunk. Mrs. E.I., Mrs. Edward Ivinson's steamer trunk, and you can also see it on the wood inside the canvas cover. Jane was quite the world traveler for the time. She traveled to Europe, she traveled to Egypt, she traveled around the United States, probably certainly ships, trains, stagecoaches, however she went, this would have gone full of her clothing, but that is her steamer trunk. A couple of springs ago, we give 3rd grade tours, and I had a whole lot of 3rd graders in here. Just a whole lot of them, and I got kind of pushed over here to this piece of furniture, and one boy right where the camera is said, "What is that wooden thing?" And I turned to tell him it was a radio, and the boy next to him said, "That's an early karaoke machine." I did not laugh. I said, if you sang along with the radio, that's exactly what it is. You've got to love the 3rd graders. They are so precious, but that was a story I just wanted to share.